Hey guys, welcome again to Selenium 4 with Java February 2025 Batch online training session 10. In today's session, we'll start about the real-time implementation of the framework. And in today's session, I will cover what is automation framework concept, what are the automation testing process, and whatever Java ops concept you have learned, how we can use those ops concept to build the powerful Selenium Java automation framework, and top 10 test automation framework available in the market, and what is data driven framework in Selenium, and how we can read the data from Excel sheet using Apache POI. The reading and writing part we will cover in the next session. Today we will learn how to read the data from the Excel sheet with the help of Apache POI. So what is automation testing framework? In the previous first 7 session we learned about Java and Selenium right standalone part, and we did not use any kind of framework. And in session 8 and 9 you learned about the TestNG framework, which is the inbuilt framework and which is having some features we can use it. Still in the real time for the big project we cannot rely only on those TestNG framework. Apart from TestNG, J1 is also available inbuilt framework, but still we need to rely on some automation framework concept. We'll learn all those concepts later. So a framework is nothing but which defines a set of rules or best practices which user can follow in a systematic way to achieve the desired result. So this kind of framework is not kind of any kind of tools or technique specific that. Instead of that is the combination of tools or techniques and set of rules or best practices which in case user are using they can need to follow in systematic way to achieve the best desired result for their requirement. In any automation testing project, user do perform different tasks by using different type of files. So it is not only similar type of file. You can deal with the properties file, you can deal with notepad file, Excel file, everything. So you can use that framework to do the different kind of tasks using the different file formats. To organize and manage all the files and to finish all the tasks in a systematic approach, user need to use a framework. So automation framework is not a single tool or process, but it is a collection of tools and processes working together to support automated testing of any application. It can be web application, it can be your Windows based application, it can be client server based application, and in case you can use any kind of tools, automation testing tool like Selenium, Playwright, Tosca, UFT, RFT, right, any kind of tool, but automation concept will never change for any kind of automation testing tool. And tools and framework also integrates various functions like libraries, test data, and various reusable methods or modules. Without a framework, a single test case may have million lines of code and it will test the entire functionality of the application. Now suppose user need to modify any functionality later point of time. So is it possible to read the entire code again for a particular functionality? Answer will be simply straightforward no. Because reading so much huge number of lines of coding or test cases will be very tough and boring job for any kind of tester. And user need to spend lot of time to analyze the entire code. But in case you are using a framework in a systematic way, we can differentiate the data file, we can differentiate the code, we can write the code page wise. So that is the way. Instead of million line of code, we can segregate into different category, and after that we can analyze the code and we can debug the code and we can fix the code very easily in case we are using any kind of framework approach. But without the framework approach it will be very tough to handle, right? In case any error is coming, it is very tough to fix and going forward. How many different automation testing framework available? So there are a couple of automation testing framework. Most common are modular driven testing framework, data driven framework, keyword driven framework, hybrid and behavior driven framework, development framework, or BDD. So apart from modular driven framework, I will cover all the framework in the today's session and the next 2 sessions. So you can learn the concept thoroughly, right? What is all about data driven, keyword driven, hybrid and behavior driven development framework or BDD. So what are the different advantage in case you are using any of the framework concept? So definitely there are a lot of advantage. Without framework your life will be miserable, right? and it will very tough to kind of find the find the root cause of the error, to fix the, to debug it, all this stuff. But in case you are using framework, you will be having a lot of advantage. First thing is that save time and maintain schedule. So in case you are using the framework, definitely you will be using the reusable component. You'll be segregating all this part, and definitely at the end of the day, it will be for you easier to fix the thing and run it smoothly, and it will definitely saves your time. So automation testing is faster in execution, and definitely it will help you to maintain the overall project timeline, in case you are able to save the time and efforts both. Reusability of the code. So in the method or reusable component in Java, you already seen, right, how we can write the method only one time and you can use them n number of times. So reusability is the another one of the important any automation testing framework advantages. So you'll be writing the code one time and you can use them n number of time. And in case you need to update the code, only you can update it in the reusable component of the method. So create one time and execute multiple time with less or very minimal or no maintenance cost. Easy reporting. So at the end of the day, whatever you are doing, you need to be report it in presentable format to your respective stakeholder, your customer, your management, like that. So you need to rely on some framework, okay, so that you can generate some better report after every execution, and you can share with the respective stakeholder for their they can review it and they can get the desired result from this report. Easy for compatible testing. Okay, so any of the automation testing right now, we need to run the same test case in multiple browser, multiple operating system. So any framework will enable parallel execution in combination of different operating system and browser environment. Low cost maintenance. So initial time, definitely whenever you are developing any framework, your cost or your effort will be higher. But once you develop the stuffs and if you are able to maintain it, right, you can get the real time return on investment very easily. You can get your required test case executed in shorter span of time, and you can get the desired result. So it is cheaper compared to manual testing for a long run, and wherever it will be executed multiple times. That is the reason we will focus on the automation testing for those components, for those area wherever we will be using regular basis, like smoke testing, sanity testing, right, the regression testing, end-to-end life cycle validation, right, all this part will be automating fast. Reliability. Automation testing is more reliable as less manual intervention is required. So definitely in case you are doing by the human being, right, so that there might be mistake, but automation testing will be very less mistakes. It's error free, and nowadays without manual intervention also script can be executed. So minimal manual interventions. So script can be executed unattendedly, or script can be run unattendedly, means nowadays in case you integrate those framework with different CI/CD tool like TeamCity, Bamboo, Jenkins, etc., and you can schedule the build, so that build can run on the nightly basis. In the morning you can get the desired result, or even on the weekend, right, you can run it. You are going for a break, you can schedule those scripts to be executed, and you can, whenever you will be back, you can get the desired result. So minimal manual intervention is required. Repetitive multiple execution for same set of test case. So that is the most of the important aspect of automation framework, automation testing approach, so that wherever you need to run them multiple time, like test data creation, regression, sanity, so that you can automate only one and you can run them daily as well, so that you can check the stability of your environment. Any defect you can log them, you can identify them at the early phase at all as well. So framework is used mostly used for regression testing, support execution of repeated test cases. Maximum coverage. So in case you are doing through manually, right, same test case you can run for 2 or 3 or 5 different data combination. But automation you can run the same scenario with like 50 combination, 100 combination. So you just need to do the data driven testing, where you will just vary the data and same test case can be executed with multiple data combinations. So that is the way it will help you to increase the overall test coverage for all your area. So that are the different advantages of test automation framework is having in the testing industry or automation testing industry. Automation testing or automation framework concept. The couple of the key parameters that software tester or automation tester need to keep in mind while developing any kind of test automation framework. First one is that they need to handle script and data separately. Why? Because in case you are keeping your code and data right in a single file or single class, it will be very tough to identify and find the root cause of the issue and debug them. So it is recommended that like you separate the script and data completely separately, and data you can place it like XML file, flat file, right, any kind of properties file, or right, or database as well, or Excel file as well. So automated test script should be clearly separated from the input data stored. It can be XML, Excel file, flat file, or database, so that no modification are required to the test script whenever data has to be changed for multiple input value, or for multiple iteration, or for multiple data combination. Then next one is library. A library is nothing but the reusable component, right? So that you will be writing all your important methods one time, so that you can call them in number of time. Any changes you can do in the reusable component, and once it is update is done, it will reflect everywhere wherever it is being called. So a library should contain all reusable component and external connections such as database, generic functions, application function, etc. Software automation testers should be exposed only to the implemented libraries, and tests should be performed by invoking this library. Coding standard. So in the real time, whenever you'll be working in the real time project, you cannot do whatever way you want to code it. No, your script might be running, but you should always maintain some coding standard. So that is the way it will help you later point of time to find the problem in your code. Suppose that today you are working right for a project, and you are developing the code by your own way without following any kind of standard protocol for your organization or from your customer. Later point of time, multiple new person might join, and they'll be struggling to understand the whatever code you are writing. Or maybe you just moved out from the project, and again after 1 year you again move back to your again original project, and that time you will be not able to understand what is the way your code has been written. So that is the reason, right? Always coding standards should be maintained. So scripting standards should always be maintained across the test automation framework. It should be common across the project, across your customer, across your organization, which will discourage individuals coding practices and help in maintaining code uniformity, which makes it easier for software tester and developer to interpret easily. Extensibility and maintenance. So automatic, definitely whenever you are using the framework, you should always keep in mind that it can be right kind of integrated with other external sources as external library, all this stuff, and maintenance effort should be less as well. So any ideal test automation framework should steadily support all new enhancement to the software applications and allow modification of existing features. A reusable library can be created which will help in enhancing application feature with very minimal effort. Then script or framework versioning. So you need to mention the versions whenever you are doing the scripting. Why? Suppose say today you develop the script, maybe you can give the version name as 1.0, and after that you have reviewed the code with your leads and you have changed the version as 1.1. So that is your final version after all the incorporating the review comment. Then you went to the customers and reviewed the code with them. They said that no, whatever way you code has written, that is not the correct one, so you need to change. They have given a lot of feedback, so you have changed and you have to make the version 1.2. After the next 2 day, customer said that no, whatever we have told, that is not the correct one. Maybe you need to do only one changes, but you need whatever change code you have to return earlier, that is correct one only. So how can you revert back, right? So in case you are using the maintaining the versioning, directly you can revert back to the version 1.1 and you can start working, right? So that you no need to write again, update the code. So that is the way versioning will help you to understand that, or any kind of corrupt, right, your complete file corruption happened, so that you can go to the previous version, you can do the changes. So that is the way you can also get to know what of the previous version was there, what modification has been made, who had did the mistake. So that is the way, right? Versions of the framework or scripts should be maintained either in local repository or version control tool, which would help in easy monitoring of changes to the software code. So these are the couple of important, right, key parameters any automation software testers need to be keep in mind whenever they are working with the framework, they are optimizing the framework, they are developing new framework, or they are updating the framework. What type of testing we can proceed with the automations? We can proceed testing like smoke testing, unit testing, integration, functional, keyword driven, regression, data driven, and the black boxing. These are the primary area we can still go with automation with any kind of tools. An application can be your web browser, web application, client server, Windows, any application, and you can use any kind of tool. But these are the thing you can automate, right? You can use, there are best tool in the market like Tosca nowadays, Selenium, Playwright, Cypress, WebDriver IO, right? RFT. Okay, these are the lot of tools available, so you can use any tool. But these are the kind of thing you can automate with the help of the any kind of automation tool and the relevant framework and relevant programming language, definitely. Automation testing process. So what type of test cases users should pick up to automate? So first thing is that users should not automate everything, right? Until it is clearly mentioned by the customer that you have to automate 100% stuff. So always focus should be that whatever area will be executing daily, regularly, or multiple times, and from where we can get the real time ROI or return on investment. Those are the area we should automate fast, like sanity test, regression test, state data creation part, end-to-end life cycle build validation area. That is the way we could test. Right after that, we can go with the functional integration end-to-end test. But whatever the area, it will be stopped to automate, or it will take huge number of time, and you will get not get the ROI. Those are the area you can skip it, right? Through automation, they can go with the manual one until your customer is saying that no, you need to go for 100% automation. They don't care about, right, the reusability or like your effort. So that are the stuff you need to remember whenever you want to automate. So users should focus on the test cases which should be executed in a repetitive manner, such as regression test cases, smoke and sanity test cases, right, or the build validation test case or the data creation part. You should automate fast. What type of test cases you should not automate or you won't pick up to automate? Before picking up the test case to automate, users should check whether the application is stable or not. So based on that aspect, they do not pick up test cases when the application under test or AUT changes frequently, and the test cases which they will run rarely or only one time or two time, or wherever there is very complexity to automating them. So as part of automation testing process, there are a couple of steps we need to follow it as a automation tester. First is like we need to select the tool, appropriate tool. We need to define the scope of automation. We need to do the planning, design and development. We need to proceed to the test execution, and we need to maintain our existing script. So what is the tool selection? So you cannot automate at your day one, right? Before that you should have the proper planning, that which tool you will be selecting, whether your customer will be giving the license cost or not, right? Whether the tool is compatible enough to do your relevant testings, whether what kind of framework will be there, what kind of programming language you can use, like that. So test tool selection largely depend on the technology of the right you are using for your application under test or UUT is built on. For instance, like UFT or QTB does not support Informatica. So QTB cannot be used for testing Informatica application. It is a good idea to conduct a POC or the proof of concept of the tool on the AUT, so that your tool can be compatible. Your right might be free tool might work, or sometime you can go for the license tool, but your tool should support all your requirement so that you can proceed with that tool. Once your tool selection is done, you need to define the scope of automation. What are the area you want to automate, whether you have the right skill set, all the technical feasibility, all this stuff is there or not. Then you can define the scope. The scope of automation is the area of user AUT or application under test which will be automated. Couple of points you need to remember, and so that it will be helping you to define the scope of automation. The features that are important for the business. Instead of considering everywhere, you need to concentrate the features which are very critical to the business, or from where like maximum defect you can encounter, or it will write very important for your daily business, like day-to-day operation, like that. Scenario which will have large amount of data, like you want to create large amount of data daily, 100 data, 200 data. So these are the area you can define in the scope of automation. Common functionality across application. There might be multiple applications, something might be common, so those are the area you need to focus. After that, you need to do the technical feasibility, whether everything is possible, automated or not, some of the risks or challenges you are facing or not. The extent to which business components are reused, the complexity of the test cases, ability to use the same test cases for the cross-browser testing as well. So this is the area point you need to consider that will help you determine the scope of your automation testing using the relevant tool or the relevant framework or relevant programming language. After that, you need to do the planning, design and development. During this phase, you need to create an automation strategy and plan. So in your normal testing project, as you'll be working for multiple years, you already know, right? You should be having proper plan. It is called software testing plan and software testing strategy. Similarly, automation also, you need to create the strategy and the plan, which contains couple of the important details like whatever tools you will be selecting, whatever framework you will be selecting, what is the features available, in scope and the out of scope item for the automation test bed preparation, or what are the test cases you will be automating, what is the schedule and the timeline of the scripting and execution, right? What are the deliverables you expecting from the your automation testing journey. Okay, then after that you can proceed with the development and then you can go with the test execution phase. So in the test execution phase, once your script are ready, then you can try to run it and you can find the problem, and in case required you can go for some of the framework implementation, or you can kind of use as much as reusable component assertion. So automation scripts are executed during this phase. The script need input test data before they are set to run. Once executed, they provide detailed test report. Execution can be performed using the automation tool directly or through the test management tools which will invoke the automation tool. So nowadays, any automation testing tool you can integrate with the test management tool like Jira, ALM, Rally, right, DevOps, Azure, etc. And from where also you can invoke, or from the tool you can invoke, so that in case your execution passed, automatically your test bed or test suite can be executed and also passed in your test management tool as well. Example, like the ALM is the test management tool which in turn it will invoke the UFT for execution automation script. So script can be executed in single machine or group of machine. The execution can be done during the night or a weekend or your break time to save the effort and both the time. At the end of the day, I mentioned multiple times that your automation, whatever script you are automating, right, it might be big failure. Why? Sometimes because you are not maintaining them properly. In case you are not maintaining them properly, it will be big failure and you will not be getting any kind of ROI or return on investment through your automation journey. So say today you have developed your code, 100 scripts you have developed, and you did not maintain them. After 6 months, they have asked you to run those code and you will be getting only 5 days time. So whenever you want to run them after 6 months, you find that couple of existing functionality got removed, couple of new things got added and couple of modified. And whenever you try to running them, all your test case got failed. And whenever you analyze, you found that it will take at least 2 to 3 weeks time to fix the code. After that you can only run. But you have given only 1 week time to run it, so that you will not able to fix it and run it, and you are able to give the real time benefit from the automation code or library whatever you have written or design, whatever framework you have developed. So that is the reason regular maintenance should be there every month or every week. Maintenance you can run them to find out that any no extra kind of breaking in the code, and if be there you can fix them and burn, so that as and when your requirement is there to execute them, you can just try to execute them. So test automation maintenance approach is an automation testing phase carried out to test whether the new functionality added to the software are working fine or not. Maintenance in automation testing is executed when new automation scripts are added and needed to be reviewed and maintained in order to improve the effectiveness of automation script with each successive release cycle. So that are the couple of stuff you need to remember, need to understand first, right, before developing any kind of real-time automation framework with any relevant tool, any programming language. I will take a pause. These are looks like theoretical, but this concept you need to understand. Otherwise, it will be very tough, right, to proceed your journey in the automation framework. Any questions so far here? Okay. I'll go to the next phase of explanation. So you already learned the Java ops concept, but you need to understand what are the area will be implementing or what I already know, right? Because in most of the interview they will ask this question. Then what are Java ops concept and what are the way you have used in the real-time automation framework? So there are primary four Java ops concepts, starting with Java inheritance, abstraction, polymorphisms, and encapsulation. So we will understand the concept again and we will see where we have used them. Data abstraction is nothing but the hiding of the data and giving the only the relevant kind of stuff to the user, so that they need no need to concentrate about that how what is the way they have developed the code. Instead of that they can get the desired result. Suppose say in case you are sending some mail, right? You don't know what is the mechanism they build, but you can send the mail and receive the mail. So that is the abstraction. Nobody is giving you that what is the way to implement it. So abstraction is the property by virtue of which one of the essential details are displayed to the user. The trivial or the non-essential unit are not displayed to the user. In Java, abstraction is achieved by interfaces. An abstract class, user can achieve 100% abstraction using interface. In Selenium, WebDriver itself acts as an interface. So that is the real-time implementation wherever we are using the data abstraction. So WebDriver driver equal to new Chrome driver or Firefox driver. So user initializes the Chrome browser using the Selenium WebDriver. It means that they are creating a reference variable driver of the WebDriver interface and creating an object. Here WebDriver is an interface and Chrome driver is a class. As WebDriver is an interface, it cannot be instantiated. You need to take the help from the relevant class and then you can create a object or the reference variable driver. So that is the way your data abstraction will be implementing in Selenium. So user can apply data abstraction in Selenium framework by using page object model design pattern as well. So in the Selenium there are a couple of design pattern available. Like POM, page object model, is not a framework. It is a design pattern. You need to remember. Sometime interviewer will ask that what is POM. So do not mention that POM or the page object model is a framework. It is a design pattern. Like page object model, page factory model, which will help you to organize your coding stuff, right? You can organize your coding part with the different like kind of multiple classes at the page level like that. So they can define all locators and their method in the page class. User can use these locators in their test, but they cannot see the implementation of their underlying method. So user only show the locator in the test but hide the implementation. This is the simple example of how user can use data abstraction in automation framework, especially in the Selenium Java. Then encapsulation. Encapsulation is nothing but just like the capsule, right? We are having multiple ingredient. Okay, we are having multiple ingredient. Okay, in the same capsules, so that capsule can work for multiple diseases. Similarly, encapsulation is defined as the wrapping up of data, right, under a single unit. It is the mechanism that binds together code and data in manipulates. Encapsulation can be achieved by declaring all the variable in the class as private. You can declare the variable as private and writing the public methods in the class to set and get the values of the variable. You can use getter and setter method. So in the real time part, all the classes in automation framework are an example of encapsulation, because class will be declaring as public, right? Method you can declare as public and you can define the variable as private. In page object model classes, user declare the member using @findby and initialization of the data member will be done using constructor to utilize those methods. So that is the way you can say about the encapsulation. Inheritance is nothing but the parent-child mechanism, grandparent, parent, parent-child mechanism, right? You are trying to build up. Like with the help of the extend keyword, you can extend class to class with the help of the extend keyword. Okay, so inheritance is the like parent child mechanism. Okay, so inheritance is the mechanism in Java by which one class, child or subclass is allowed to inherit the features, field and methods to of another class which will be called as parent or base class. Okay, user can apply inheritance in automation framework by creating a base class. So in the real-time framework, when you'll be using the page object model or the page factory model, so you'll be creating a base class where you can define all your important aspect, like what are the thing you need to use, what are the way you need to capture the screenshot, what are the listeners you need to use, all the thing you'll be using the base class. After that, for every pages, you will be creating a page class with all the methods, all the variables, all the importance aspect. And every page class, you will be extending that base class. So that is the way you can do the parent-child mechanism, establish the parent-child mechanism. So user can apply inheritance in automation framework by creating a base class to initialize the WebDriver interface, browser, OS, report, logging, etc. And then they can extend this base class and its method in other class like test or utilities. This is the simple example of how user can apply inheritance in our framework. Then the last Java ops concept, whatever we will be trying to implement in the real-time framework, is nothing but the polymorphism. So poly means many and morphism means form. So it is many form. The word polymorphism means having many form. So polymorphisms allow user to perform a single action in multiple way. In Java, polymorphism can be achieved by two ways: method overloading and method overriding. Method overloading is nothing but same method you will be writing it with changing your argument or number of argument or type of argument, that is called signature. So you can create the same method with the number of argument, type of argument. So you already see like divert dot find element, by dot class name, xpath, id, name. Apart from that, in case you are using implicit timeout, you can use second, minutes, hour, etc. So when there are multiple methods with the same name but different parameter, then these methods are said to be overloaded. Methods can be overloaded by varying number of argument or changing the type of argument. In Selenium automation, implicit wait is an example of method overloading. In implicit wait, user can use different timestamps such as second, minute, etc., hour, etc. Apart from that, you already know about the frame, right? So select by index, right? Select by ID or name, or select by web element reference. So that is another example of the method overloading. Method overriding is nothing but same method you will be having it both your parent and child class, and your child class will override your parent class part. So that is the called method overriding. So it occurs when a derived class has a definition of one of the member functions of the base class. The base functions will be said to be overridden. Okay, so what is the example? Say I have already told you. Say you are automating a particular website, and you are by default you are giving some implicit time as 30 seconds, so that you can wait maximum 30 seconds. In case page is not fully loaded, you will throw the error, and that 30 seconds you can define in the base class as an implicit timeout. But you know that for this particular website, couple of pages might take 1 to 2 minute times to load the page. So what you can do for this page class, for this particular page, you can define implicit time as 2 minutes or 1 minute based on your requirement, so that 30 seconds will be overridden by this 2 or 3 minutes, so that particular to this page it will wait for 2 minutes or 3 minutes or 1 minute, whatever, and it will never fail. That is the way you can use that method overriding concept in the real-time automation framework. So this is the way, whatever Java ops concept you have learned, I have tried to give you the explanation what are the area in the real-time framework you can use it, and definitely if you have just give the interview in that way, it will definitely help you to clear the interview. Then I will go for top 10 automation framework available in the market. There are so many n number of frameworks available, but I have just tried to jotted down top 10 automation framework primarily for web based testing, right? Web based application testing, not for the Windows based or not for the client server based application. I did not consider here. I have just considered for the web based part. So, like robot framework, in case you are using Selenium with Python, right? Just like here we are using the Eclipse IDE or integrated data environment, we'll be using their PyTest. Okay, so in Selenium with Python framework, we'll be using the robot framework. So robot framework is the best choice in case user want to use the Python test automation framework for their test automation effort. The robot framework is Python based, but you can also use Jython or Iron Python. The robot framework uses a keyword driven approach to make test easy to integrate robot framework. You can also test MongoDB, FTP, Android, APM and more. It has many more libraries including the Selenium WebDriver library and other usable tools. It has a lot of API to help make it as extensible as possible. The keyword approach used by robot framework is a gate for testers who are already familiar with other vendor based keyword driven test tools, making the transition to open source much easier for them. Then there's another one is like WebDriver IO. So in case you are working with JavaScript based application, right, you can use Visual Studio Code as a IDE and you can use Node.js. So WebDriver IO is an automation test framework based in Node.js. It has an integrated test runner and user can run automation test for web application as well as native mobile apps. Also, it can run both the WebDriver protocols and Chrome DevTools protocol as well, making it efficient for both Selenium WebDriver based cross-browser testing or Chromium based automation as well. As WebDriver IO is open source as well, right? User can get a bunch of plugins for their automation needs, which will make the setup simple and easy. Then Citrus is there, which is also open source framework, but primarily for the API kind of stuff, API kind of testing. So Citrus is an open source framework which, whenever user can automate integration test for any messaging protocol or data format. For any kind of messaging transport such as REST, HTTP, SOAP or JMS, Citrus framework will be suited for test messaging integration. In case user need to interact with a user interface and then verify the backend process, user can integrate Citrus with Selenium as well. Then we have Cypress, right? In case you heard the tool name, so that is the way you can understand what is the tool all about and what are the different framework, right, or the different kind of ID or different kind of programming language it can be used. So Cypress is also a developer-centric test automation framework which use TDD or test data driven, a reality for developer. Its design principles was to be able to package and bundle everything together to make the entire end-to-end testing experience pleasant and simple. Cypress has a different architecture than Selenium. While Selenium WebDriver runs remotely outside the browser, Cypress runs inside it. This approach helps in understanding everything that's happened inside and outside the browser to deliver more consistent result. It does not require user to deal with object serializations or over the wire protocols while giving user native access for every project. Cypress can synchronously notify user of every single thing that happen inside the browser as well as pulling their app into it so that they can have native access to every element. Then Selenium, you already know what is Selenium. It's an open source tool, support different kind of variety of programming language. It support different kind of operating system, different kind of browsers. Okay, so primarily used for the web based application testing. Cucumber, that you will be learning in this course. So Cucumber is nothing, it supports the BDD approach or behavior driven development approach. So it is a cross platform behavior driven development tools that is used to write acceptance tests of web application. Cucumber is very easy and quick to set up the execution and allows reusing code in the test. It supports different language like Python, PHP, Perl, .NET, Scala, Groovy, etc. In Cucumber, there is a three concept in Cucumber. One is features file, one is step definition class, one is the runner class. Okay, first you will be writing your features file with simple English like Jarkin language, so that anyone can understand, not only automation tester, your developer, your business analyst, your product owner, right? Everybody can understand. Your management also can understand that simple English jargon from, and that part you will be converting your step definitions. And after that, you can use the runner class and you can try to run them. So that is the cucumber, but you'll be learning more in the upcoming session. Then Playwright. Nowadays, also very important tools came into the market for web-based application testing. It supports Java as well. It supports like C has, and it supports also TypeScript or JavaScript. Okay, so it is a robust web application tool that support multiple browser like Chromium, Firefox, and WebKit. And other browser is also you can do it like uh, like Safari as well. I mean other browser or Firefox, Chrome as well. So you can do it and run on diverse platform like Windows, Mac, Linux, etc. using single API. This flexibility allows developer to write consistent and reliable script for testing and automations without worrying about browser specific implementation or platform constant. By using Playwright, automation developer can streamline their workflow, ensuring their web application works seamlessly across different environments. Ultimately, it will help in improving efficiency and reducing the time needed for the cross-browser testing. There are other three tools also available. Serenity is there. In case you want to use like BDD approach, right, Cucumber and JPF, then you can use Serenity. And Carina also tool which is very popular open source tool like APM, TestNG and Selenium, which reduces dependency on a specific technology stack. Right, in case you want to do the specific like database testing using MySQL, SQL Server, Oracle, like PostgreSQL, everything, then you can use that Carina. Earlier also another tools which developer, automation developer often face, sometime automation developer face difficulty with some of the existing test automation framework in synchronization part, right, that your page is not loaded fully on time. Okay, and like page is not loaded fully or like might be other dependency, so that you can use that RLG like part which will help you synchronizing the app. Okay, so these are the couple of frameworks, just I have tried to jot it down, especially for the web based testing and native application testing as well as the couple of API area. But there are, apart from that, there are so many frameworks tools available which will you can use at later point of time. Once you learn one tools, one framework and one programming language, it will help you to learn the other aspects very fast and smoother way. Then we will go with the framework in Selenium. So Selenium framework is a code structure that is used to make code maintenance simpler and readability better. It helps in dividing the entire code into smaller part of the code in a systematic way which tests a particular functionality. Without the framework at the starting, you can have a number of codes, right, multiple files all together, and it will be very difficult. So that, right, Selenium framework will help you to kind of segregate your code and data different way, right, and you can use the reusability part. Okay, that is the way it will help you. And then without the framework, right, in case you are having n number of line of code, it will be very tough. So in case you are using the reusable component method, your page class, your base class, your test data different way, it will help you to save your time in debugging and fixing your problem. Okay, so when user use Selenium framework structure, it breaks the entire code in smaller part. The smaller part can be easily readable, and if you want to like modify or like update something, it can be do it very easily. I will take a pause again, and then I will just give another walkthrough of three framework, and then let's go for the coding, how to do the like read the data from the Excel sheet with the help of the Apache POI. And writing part and like data driven framework, hybrid framework, I'll cover in the next sessions, and BDD part, BDD cucumber part, I'll cover in the last session. So that is the way now onward you can understand what is the way you can read and write from the Excel sheet, and you can write your test case in the Excel sheet, and you can interact your framework. Any questions, any doubt, anyone? Okay. Then we have talked about 5 framework: modular, data driven, keyword driven, hybrid, and BDD or behavior driven development. So modular nowadays we do not use, but other framework we will be using. But just concept part I have just tried to give you here. In this framework, the tester can create test script module wise by breaking down the whole application into smaller modules as per the client requirement and create test script individually. So what is the advantage? Modular driven framework ensures the division of the script that lead to easier maintenance and scalability. User can write independent step script. But nowadays that is the stuff we do not want, right? We want something as generic and we want to call them n number of times. So that is the disadvantage. So modular driven framework require additional time in analyzing the test case and identifying the reusable flow. So that is the problem. It is not used much. Still some of the small project we can still use it. Then today we will learn about the data driven framework. So what is data driven framework? Let's try to understand the code whatever we have tried to do yesterday, last session. Okay, so this is the part we have tried to automate like similar way you already learned, right? That with the help of the TestNG, with the help of the data provider, we can put our data inside the same class itself. Okay, and we can create the data provider new methods, and we can have our main method and test cases, and we can call that particular data provider methods and we can use it. But still you are seeing that, right, we are keeping our data and code in the same single class file. Okay, but it might be very tough at a point of time, right? Every class files you cannot have the data like that. It will be very tough to find the root cause of the problem and debug it. So I want to separate this test case and I want to separate this data part into some other external file. It can be database, it can be flat file, it can be CSV file, Excel file, like that. So that is the concept of the data driven testing. That part I want to keep in some different entity, not inside the code, inside the same class. Okay, so data driven framework in Selenium is the technique separating the test data from the actual test case or the code. Since the test case is separated from the data set, user can easily modify the test case of a particular functionality without making changes to the code. Data driven framework is used to drive test case and shoot from the external data feed. The data feed can be data sheets like .xls, .xlsx or CSV file or flat file. Say user has to modify the code for login functionality, then can modify just the login function instead of having modify any other features dependent on the same code. Right? This is the example which will demonstrate you what is the approach you will be following. So this is your application, say application under test or AUT, and this is your code you are writing, and this code you can have your data set externally. Okay, so with the code you can get the data, read and write from the external source, and the same way you can do the right interaction with the application. So that is the concept of data driven framework. So in the data driven framework, test data and code will be stored separately, and then automation test script is connected when with the test data stored in the external files. So what is the advantage? You will be keeping them separately, so definitely it will be easy to maintain it. In case you want to change the code, you will be only changing the code. You want to change the data, you will not touch your code, you will be just touching your updating your data sheet. That's all. So they will reduce the cost of adding new tests and changing them when user business rule change. This is done by creating parameter for different scenario using dataset that the same code can run against. They help to identify what data is most important for the tested behavior. By separating first class scenario data into parameters, it becomes clear what matter most the test. This makes it easy to remember how something works when developer need to change it. What are the major advantages of data driven framework? It allows testing of the application multiple set of data values during regression testing. Separates the test case data from with the executable test script. It allows reusing the actions and function in different tests. It generates test data automatically. Sometimes it is not only that you are taking the data as a feed, you want to generate some number, just like the submission number, invoice number, or like transaction number. So that data you can store it into also external Excel sheet or CSV file, and that data you can use by other person. So that is the way result in generate test data automatically. This helps when large volume random test data is required to create. Result in the creation extensive code that is flexible and easy to maintain. It allows automation test case executed several times with the multiple data sets, and it will reduce the test cases and the script count. Right? It does not let changes in the test script which will right isolate your test script and data differently. Disadvantage, definitely in case you want to deal with any kind of framework, main thing is that you require the resources with strong skill, the tool skill, framework skill, and your programming skill. Without those skills you cannot directly work on this kind of framework. So your required skill set is required. In case resources are not adequate skill set, you need to provide the training and need to invest the time, initial time. So your expertise is required. In case you want to deal with the different part, you need to understand the approach. Okay, sometimes in case for creating and maintaining the test data files, user use text editor like notepad. So sometimes you need to take extra care. Okay, because sometimes format having some problem and you can get some unwanted issue as well. So these are the kind of disadvantage will be there. So now say whatever test script I have developed here, so the same script same data I want to take it from the Excel sheet. I will not change anything here in my test case. Whatever test case I have written here, the same test case I will be keeping. Instead of the data provider part, that part I want to change it from the Excel sheet instead of hard coding it here. And you could see how we can save the time. So now see what is the objective. I want to automate the Facebook page. Every time I want to give the email password field, I want to print out the email password, I want to quit the browser. So the email password fields I want to get it from the data providers. So I have given as a row as 3 and column as 2. So column 2 is nothing but the number of field, username and password, and row 3 is nothing but 3 variation I want to do. Now let's try to run the code and let's see what's happening here without the data driven framework. Without the proper data driven framework means the placing the data separately. We are still using the data driven framework only. Okay, we could say 3 passed. Now say I want to have one more row added. So how many stuff you need to do? You could see I need to change it manually. That row number 3, column number 3, again that part I need to change it. Okay, and I need to change the data. It will still fail. Why? Because I have changed it the row number total 4 row. So I need to change that here also 4. So that is sometimes a complication. You need to add so many stuff. And your code and also data is keeping in the same single file. That I do not want. So that is the problem is happening. So that is data driven testing also. But still I want to do the data driven testing from the external source. I want to place the data. So how it is possible? So how I can automate it? So let's see. So first thing is that you need to add 2 dependency. Maven dependency. One is POI dependency and one is POI OXML dependency in your pom.xml file. So how can you get it? You can go to the Maven repository folder and you can simply search POI, and you can see this is the first 2 things you need to do: Apache POI common and Apache POI OOXML schema. So if you click here POI, so you will be getting any version you can go. So 5.4.1, and you can copy that Maven dependency part, you can just paste it in your pom.xml file. And after that, this will not only work. And after that, apart from that, you also need to take that API common, Apache POI common as well, the POI. Okay, this also you can go, and same version you need to take, whatever version you are taking, like 5.4.0, 5.4.1 for both the stuff, and you can take it. So this is the 2 dependencies. Simply you need to add it in your maven.pom.xml file. And after that you need to save it. So what I did here, so this is the only precondition is required to work with Apache POI. Okay, so if you go to the pom.xml file, okay, same project, I have added these two dependency 5.4.1. You could see the POI dependency and the POI OXML dependency. I have added it and saved it. So that is the reasons you could see Maven dependencies, but it will be there. POI dependency will be added, right? You could see these are the two dependencies already added, and you can call the relevant interface, relevant class. You can create the object now onward. So what I will do first, that you want to drive the data right from the Excel sheet or external source CSV file. So what I did, I have created a simple Excel Facebook login credential. You can give the name and Excel extension will be .xlsx now onward, because it is a now we are using 2015, right? And simply I have created the Excel Facebook login credential .xlx format, and I have given two column here. One is user one, and this is the username field I want to give, and this is the password field I want to give, or you can change it like username one, like that. So this is the first one I will be putting in the username field, and second one I want to put as the password field. Simple thing. But forget about Selenium, forget about the framework. So how we'll read the Excel sheet? First you need to go to the path of the Excel sheet. So how can you go to it? If you go to the properties, so this is your path, right? This is the path Excel sheet has been kept. And what is the name of the Excel sheet? Facebook login credential. What is the extension of the Excel sheet? .xlsx. So first you need to go to the path of the Excel sheet, then Excel sheet name with the extension you need to go. After that you need to go to the sheet, because Excel sheet have multiple sheet or tab. Sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3, like that. You can have multiple sheets. So you need to go to the sheet. Which sheet you need to go? Sheet number or sheet name. After that you need to go to the row. You need to read it. And then you need to go to the column. And that is called cell. And then you can read the data from the cell. It is called row and column. So it is row 0, column 0. That is the way you can read it from the cell. Then you can read or write it as well. You can create a new cell and you can go for the row and column, and you can update it like here also. The update part I will show you in the next session, but today I will read the part. So in case you want to read from the Excel sheet, if you open it, still it will work. But in case you want to write from the Excel sheet, in case you are opening the Excel sheet, it will never work. You need to always close the Excel sheet. So this is the fourth sheet row I want to read it, and here in my test cases. So that part I want to automate it, and that part I want to change it. So what I will do, I will create a, in the training package, I will create a class, simple class. So say read Excel data, simple thing. No need to select public static void main. So this is the first part you need to do. What you need to do, you need to add the two maven.xml right dependency. One is POI dependency, one is POI or XML dependency. You need to add it in the maven file. After that you need to create the Excel sheet, right, where you can give the Excel sheet name, and you can create multiple tab, and in the tab you can create your row and column value. You can give some header part as well. That part you will learning next, okay, later. That what is the way you can give it header, so that it can, anyone can easily understand what is the way it is, just reading it, right? So in that particular Apache POI, we will be having some classes like available XSSF workbook, XSSF work. Just type it, press Ctrl Enter. You could see this is coming XSSF workbook coming from the org.apachepoi.xsff user model packages. I can give some variable name called workbook. Globally I can define. Then I can something called XSSF worksheet, right? XSSF sheet. This is the class I need to call it. You could see this is the class C. It is coming also from org.apache.py xsf.work user model packages. So I can create some variable called sheet. That's all. Two global thing I'll be defining. Then I'll be creating a constructor. Public, there is no right output return type. Same way I am copying the part. Oh, sorry. Constructor without return type public, and then here I can give some parameter, path of the file, string file path. I can give it. Okay, that is the way I can create the constructor. So I need to call the file class. File, I'll create an object new file equal to new file, and here I can provide the path of the file path. So that is the way I can create the file class first object. Now you could see error message coming. You need to import that Java, and it will still work. After that, you need to call the file input stream. Class, say I can create an object called FIS equal to new file input stream, and here you need to give the file class reference. So you need to import that file input stream from the Java. Error is still coming. So what you need to do, you need to surround with some try catch block. Surround with try catch block. I think now error message gone. So that is the first thing you need to do. You need to go to the file path. Right? This is the method I have created. Then second method, how will create? I want to get the data. I want to read the data from here. So I'll be creating a method called public. I will not give the return type. Say get data method. Get test data. That is the method I will be creating. Where, how I will be creating? I need to go to the sheet. I need to go to the row and column. Then I can do it, right? So I will be passing couple of stuff called integer argument sheet number, comma integer row, comma integer column. Okay, why error message is coming? Because I did not give any return type. Return type I will give it last. Okay, so how I will read it? First, whatever workbook object I have created here, workbook object I have created. So I will take that workbook. I will go to the sheet because I already came here, right, to the file path. Now from the workbook I will go to the sheet here, right? So what is the way I will go to the sheet? Let's go to the workbook dot, if you call get sheet add, you could see get sheet add. What is the return type? Return type is nothing but XSF sheet, but we have created a variable for XSF sheet as sheet, so that is the I can store it. So I will call it like get sheet add. I need to provide the index. What is the index? Sheet number integer. Here I can give the sheet number, and that will be stored in the sheet variable. SHEET sheet equal to, because that is the global variable I have created. Now I came here to the sheet. Now I need to get the data. So how can I get the data? I will be calling that sheet variables for the XSF sheet class dot get row. First I will get the row. Get row. Okay, here I will be passing the row variable. So whatever argument I want to pass. Then I already came to the row. Then I don't need to go to the column. Right? What is the way? There is a method called get cell. You could see get cell, and here you need to give the integer cell column. That is the way I pass the integer. Dot get cell column, right? Column. Then how can I get the data? There is a method called get string cell value. That is the way I can get the get string cell value. It is giving me the string. Return type is string. So I can store in some string format. String say data. Now I need to return it, because that I need to return it. I need to call it return. So what I am returning? I am returning data. What is data? Data is string. So that part I can paste it here. That error message gone. Okay. So here one more stuff is there. I need to go to, I already go to the path, but I need to go to the workbook. Okay. So here what I need to do, I already came to the FIS. Now I need to go to the workbook. So what I will do, I already came to the file. I need to go to the workbook. So excessive workbook equal a new workbook, like I can create it. So here whatever we already created the variable, so I now need to create it, call it again. I can directly go here, workbook equal to new excessive workbook, and then I need to give it FI, so that will work. Now it is error message coming, so I need to surround with some try catch block. I think that will still work now. It should be fine. Okay, so this two part is done. So from first one I am going to the path and workbook name with the help of path. Second one, with the help of this workbook reference, I am going to the sheet. This is sheet. This is the workbook name. This is a sheet, then row, and then column, then get set value. My set, I get the data now. Another thing is required, that how many row data is available. That I also need to understand. There 4 row data is available. So I will be reading only those 4 row. Wherever data is present, wherever data is not present, I don't need to read it. So that is the another method I need to get. How many exactly row count value is there. So I will be creating another method called, I am not giving any thing, public void return type, I am not giving it right now. Get row count. Here I need to give the sheet index, integer sheet number, or same variable you can give it here, whatever you have given. Anything is still work. Okay, what is the way I can go I can go to the workbook here. What is the row here, because I already came to the workbook, so that is the way I can go it. Workbook dot get sheet at, similar way, get sheet at, I can give the worksheet number, dot, there is a method called get last row number. You could see. What is return type? Return type is nothing but integer. So I will be storing in some integer row. So I get the row count for the first row, right? Then I can give it row equal to row plus 1. So that is the way it will go one by one, and will validate how many row data is available, and then return row. That's all. And now what is returning? Returning row. What is row? Row is integer. So I am just changing it here. That's all. These 3 methods I have written. I am explaining again once more time so that you can understand what I need to do. First I need to add these 2 dependency for reading and writing the Apache POI. Right? POI dependency and POI OXML dependency. After that I need to create a Excel sheet .xls format, and I need to create tab here. I can give some name like test data, anything, and here I will be reading it through the index. This index is 0 because it is a first tab, and later we will be reading it from the test data name, because in case you are having 20 different tabs, it is not possible, right, to check the index of that your data, because your test data should be always unique, your sheet name should be always unique. You cannot duplicate. You could see it will not allow duplicate name for the sheet. It should be always unique. It is not allowing, right? Already there. If you change it to 1, it should work. Okay, so that is the first thing. Then you can give a header as well. That part will be learning next sessions. Or you can give whatever row you want to interact. You can whatever field you want to interact. You can create that many columns, and you can row wise you can give the value. That's all. After that you need to create couple of method here. I'll be creating a constructor here first to go to the file path and go to the sheet name. So we'll be calling the file class. We'll be giving the file class reference. We'll be using the file input stream to read the completely file path, and we'll be going to the workbook. Now in case we want to claim the workbook, we need to go to the sheet, and we need to go to the row and column. Then we can read the value data. So we'll be creating a method called get test data. We are going to the sheet. After that we are going to the row. Every row we are getting the column value, and we are converting into the cell value. That is the way I am returning that cell value. That part is done. Next one is that I want to read how many row is available. I'll be reading one by one row, and whether presenting that row is available, value is available or not. So I'm going to the workbook, I'm getting the sheet index and getting the last row number whenever row is available, and I'm returning it. So that is the 3 method I have created, and constructor and 2 method. Now what I'll do, I'll go to my test case, and this part I'll be changing it completely. This part. Sorry. Yeah, in my desktop, I'll give the path file path. No worry. Wherever you can give it, you can create any folder structure. You can give it. Okay, that path you need to give it. So these three part I'll be simply remove. I'll comment out, and these three part I'll just try to change it. Okay. So before that, what you need to do? What are the thing you need to do? Copy it, comment it as well, so that you can understand the difference. So first thing is that whatever data Excel we have created will be creating object, so that automatically the constructor will be invoked. So you no need to separately call the methods, right? I can create some object called config equal to new Excel data, and here I need to give the path of the Excel sheet, right? Because this the constructor is calling. What is the constructor parameter? You need to give the file path. So now file path I'll be giving. What is the way? Let's right click on that, go to the properties. You don't need to remember anything. This is the path. This is the file path. So I'll be giving it within the double quote. Okay. Then what is the file name? This is the file name. File path, then file name, then extension. What is the extension? .xlsx. .xlsx. XLSX. That's all. Got it? So whatever you can place it. You can create any folder, C drive, D drive, E drive, anything. You need to give the path of the file, name of the file, and the extension of the file. Okay. Then what I will do, I'll be need to understand how many row data I want to read. So I'll be creating integer rows, because rows method is called return type. Now I'll call that object, and then we'll call the method get row count method, right? You could see here. And what is the index? In which sheet it is there? First sheet. So index is 0. So I'll be giving the index as 0, because it is available in the first sheet. In case it is second sheet, you need to give the index as 1. Later point of time, we will learn how to read the data from the sheet name itself instead of index. So that is part done. Now whatever I'll be doing, this row part I'll be make it dynamic instead of static. That will change it. Because column part I know still it is 2. Then my next part also done. Then what I'll do, I'll be using a for loop for integer I equal to 0, I less than rows, because I will be iterating till rows, minus 1, because starting from the 0, I plus plus. What is my data variable? Whatever we have created the data variable, so I'll be copying it here. And here instead of that I'll be making it I. Row number will be 0 only, because there is 2 value I am interacting, username and password field. And now I'll be calling that object here. Dot the method name. What is the method name? Get data method we have called, right? And here I'll be giving that the first one is which sheet name. Try to read it thoroughly. First one is seed name, second one is row, and third one is column. So that is the way we'll be calling it. Row, seed name is 0. Row is nothing but the rows variables. I am calling it. Here it will be I. And column is 0. First column. Later we can automate both row and column as well. That's done. And second one, column label. What I will do? I will changing it to I1, and same thing 1. That's all. In case you are having 3 fail to interact, you can create 3 things like that. 0, 1, 2. Here you can give the 3. Now rest of the stuff we did not change anything, and coding part I will be also not be changing anything. That is the beauty. Now let's run it and let's see what's happening now. You could see it's opening the Facebook page, username 1, 2, 3, 4, it is running. So you no need to give any size. It is taking the dynamic value from the row based on the row data is given. Okay, now if you go here, you could see the 4 iteration, username 1, password 1, combination 2, 3, same name, method name is still same, right? Default should default test. Now if you want to run it from the TestNG XML file, you can give the classes tag, package name of the class name, so same it will work, but it will give you that your test name and suit name, whatever you have given in the TestNG XML file, but there is no difference in the execution. So that is the way I can do that part. Now interesting part that tomorrow I want to go for like multiple iterations. I want to change it to 6 iterations. So you can change it here only and save the code. That's all. You don't need to touch anything. You just will be touching updating your Excel sheet which is outside your code. Now you can run it again. Now you could see the differences. No need to change any value. Nothing. In the last time you see that you need to change every time like your row number, column number, all this part. Now will not be changing anything, so it will be running for 6 times now. That is the beauty. Once your test case is designed, you can have n number of data. Today is 10, you can add 100. Tomorrow you can change it to 50 again. Tomorrow you have to change it to 5 it again. Like that. You could see. That's all. Now say I want to write, copy the same thing and I want to paste it in same row, other row. And here I want to give some header. Say this is my username, header. I don't want to read them. Username and password. This is my column, right? Give it bold. So this part I will not run. I will run it. I will start running from here. Okay. So what you can do? You can just go to their code and you need to change a little bit. So here it is. It is second sheet, right? So it will be second row. So it will be first index will be 0, 1. That's all. Your sheet number. And you need to change it here. Instead of row equal to 0, I want to run it from I equal to 1. Because first row I don't want to read it. Because it's my header part. It is giving the information to the user, so I will be running it from I equal to 1. That's all. After that, no change, nothing. Now you can run it from the TestNG.xml file. So it is still 6, or you can remove 1. So it is 5 combination. First one it will not run. Username, password will not run because I am starting from the I equal to 1. See, it will try to run from the second sheet. So that is the way. Only change you need to do, simple thing. So we can have n number of row. Okay, now you can go to the output. Okay, why it is failed? Null. Okay, maybe yeah. I equal to 1 I have started. Okay, first one is not considering, it is giving for that one, but it should work generally. I should be 1 for that. Should work, but maybe some change is required. So let's go with the I equal to 0 only. Maybe some little bit changes might be there. We'll be seeing in the next session. So now again we need to change it to again maybe 7 row record say. So that way we just change it only. So it will be running for 7 times. So you need to give the number of iteration, exactly which tab you want to, which sheet you want to, right tab you want to interact, all this stuff you need to give the information here in the loop. So you could see what is the easiest way I can do the automation. I need to write couple of stuffs. Now tomorrow, right, you need to run for only three iterations. Just remove that remaining row and save it again, and just close it and run it. Now it's three iteration, username 1, 2, and 3, and you see. Some X problem is coming called socket, but there is no change. Cannot invoke org Apache POI cell integer because return value of get integer is null. That's fine. Let's do it from the test data one. Let's see what's happening. Yeah, sometimes some problem used to happen. So in case, just need to see, and just you can just remove that seat and you can create a new one. Okay. Otherwise, maybe after a couple of run, it will automatically get fixed. Okay. No need to worry all this one. So that is the way you can just write run in for any data. You this is dynamic part. Okay. So here what we need to do first, whatever thing is created, three method created. One is constructor to getting to the path of the file and to go to the workbook. After that we are going to the work sheet, going to the row and column, we are getting the cell value, and after that we are creating another method to understand how many rows data is available. Then we are going here, we are creating the object first, we navigating to the sheet path, sheet name and extension. We are getting the number of know how many number rows, right, data is available. Okay. Data is available. Then we are trying to understand how many get which what the different thing I want to interact, column value, and then I am just using it. That simple thing, same thing we will be implementing into the Excel sheet. Okay. So that is the way you can do the data driven testing using Selenium with the help of the Apache POI. Today we have tried to understand the read part, and next sessions we will understand how to read and write the data from the Excel sheet. Apart from that, we will be learning keyword driven and hybrid. Hybrid is nothing but combination of data driven and keyword driven. Keyword driven primarily work with the keywords. Like I want to do some operations, like click, select some value, other stuff. So that is the way it will work on the keyword. And data driven is combination, different variety of the data. And hybrid is nothing but a combination of both keyword and data driven. With same Excel file, with the help of the Apache POI, we can do it. And you'll be learning more how to real time do the framework. So that's I think from today's session, guys. Thank you.